Welcome back to No Offense Sports. I'm your host, Makeda Royal, and today I have joining me Coach L, owner and head trainer of Step by Step Sports and Performance, located in Birmingham, Alabama. Coach L has trained over 450 athletes and counting. Thank you for coming in today. Coach L, how are you?
Doing good. Appreciate you for having me.
So today we're just going to talk about your journey and your perspective as a trainer. So the first thing that I want to ask you is really just talk to me about your journey in the sports and how you got into this field.
Oh man, it's been a short journey, but it feels like it's been long all at the same time. I was training. I was actually coaching my son's 3-year-old basketball team at the YMCA in Trussville, and for 2 years I was training. I was coaching the same group, and when I was coaching those guys, I had parents advocating, for me to continue to stay with the same team. Typically at the YMCA, they try to get you to change up so you can get used to different coaching. But because I was hard on technique and making sure athletes learn the basics that they need to learn rather than just having fun. I think that's what a lot of parents wanted. A lot of people don't understand kids really want to be held accountable. They just don't know how to say how. So coaching one of my kids, Trey, his dad reached out to me and asked me to train him, and I found every excuse I could not to train, working the hectic schedule I did for the 9 years at Birmingham Coca-Cola. And one day I just decided to, and I started off training Trey Garrett, that I'm still currently training, my son Lathan, and my brother Jaden, who played at Jacksonville State, and one other young man named JD that played at Centerpoint. And it was just crazy. Every excuse I found not to train, God actually put me in a position where I was getting promotions at work to push me in a direction to have more time to actually be able to focus on training. I found a facility, me and my old business partner found a facility on the eastern side of Birmingham in the neighborhood where my father grew up. And I felt the need to add some more light to that neighborhood. A lot of the people were older in that neighborhood. When I was growing up in that neighborhood, we used to have fun, go outside and play games and things of that nature. So I felt very led to be able to start a gym in that area to be able to give back to those kids. And it went from training at the YMCA to here we are now, training, thousands of athletes who've been able to help assist.
So when you talk about, you said you hesitated a little bit, finding every excuse in the book to not just fully become a full-time trainer. So what was the hesitation?
I think the biggest hesitation that any man feels is failing. All of us want to be successful, and all of us want to be successful at anything that we do. And I think a lot of times we doubt ourselves, not understanding that God has placed something in us. And it's not about how equipped you are. It's not about having enough money. It's not about having enough certifications. It's about, what he puts inside of you and being able to trust that and start taking that first step. So literally step by step embodies that on being able to walk with athletes through basically their journey because I've been there before. Being hesitant about it was failing another athlete, tearing up my knee in college. To me, I looked at it as a failure. Now I don't look at it as a failure. But being able to be responsible for somebody else's performance and help them have an opportunity to excel in their sport, that's a huge challenge. That's a huge load that you feel on your shoulders. And I was hesitant to do so just because I wanted to do it at the highest level possible.
So I'm looking at your logo right now, and I noticed that there's a cross where the T is. So can you kind of talk about what your faith means to you and why that's important to you?
My faith means everything. When I sat down and came up with the logo, my last name is Stevens, and Step, it's the first 4 letters, in my last name, and then I started thinking about, okay, I have 3 kids, step by step. So I was just like, step by step throughout raising them, it's going to be a process. And when I sat down and drew it on paper, I literally, just being honest, I was drawing an S on the paper, and I drew a circle around it, and then went with a T, this little cricket little T. I actually messed up on the T. And when I messed up on the T, I just continued to circle. And that's when I realized then, I was just like, hold on, dude. I was like, it's not only the first 2 letters in your last name, but at the same time, this T symbolizes, Christ and is right at the center. So being able to teach athletes how to keep God first and also, family, the sport, things like that, putting things in a proper order was always big for me.
So you talked about playing football at Jacksonville State. You talked about tearing your ACL. So I actually read an article about you and your heart stopped during surgery. So How did you feel when you woke up hearing that news? Did that change your mentality a little bit about life?
Just to be honest, I think that helped. That helped. I'm not gonna say help, but that kind of helped plant the hesitation in me training, because through so much joy that the sport has brought me, it also brought me pain through that situation. That's a fearful situation, being able to wake up and hear these things, or to wake up and see a tube, the size of your index finger, on the side of your knee draining blood from a clog in your calf. Those are things that are scary. Those are things that are like, oh my God, I could have really been gone off of just playing football. Something that I've loved my whole life, and understanding how critical this sport is, and understanding how important life was. That definitely was a scary thought.
So when you talk about step by step, right? What makes a stepper?
So the crazy thing about it is, it's an athlete named Dalen. Dalen's been training with me since he's about 3 or 4 years old. He's still currently training with me now. Me and him would like dance around, have fun after the sessions. The biggest thing for me was, how do you keep a kid's attention for an hour? How do you keep their attention for you to be able to instruct them and educate them and teach them something? And I always found fun in just making it fun, making it energetic, doing different things. And one day he was getting ready to gear up for a national championship game. And at the time, I think he was playing for somebody else, and it wasn't Bessemer, who he's played for as well. And he got in front of the camera and was dancing, and he was just like, I'm a certified baby stepper. And I was like, certified baby stepper? And I'm just like, okay, the kids groups are going to be called baby steppers, and the older kids are going to be called steppers. So at this point, man, just to be honest, the DNA of a stepper is being able to have heart, being able to have success, toughness, energy, and persistence. So that's what STEPS stand for. So being able to embody those things are very important with being a stepper. And if you stay with those goals and you don't fade away from them, you can be successful at anything that you do in life. You don't just have to be an athlete to be a stepper.
So with your program and your foundation, you're focusing on things outside of sports, outside of athletics. You talked to me earlier, you said you were teaching kids about financial literacy, like making a choice about going to college, ACT prep. So what kind of made you, I guess, not only want to focus on the training?
Like I said, the biggest thing for me is nothing that I had to go out and search for. Somebody had to tell me to do. A lot of it was things and challenges that I had growing up as well. I had a decent upbringing. My mom and them did a great job. My bonus dad came into the picture and did a great job as well too. So I'm a good mixture of knowing what it was like to not have, and knowing what it was like to have, the tail end of my high school, middle school and high school. But the biggest thing for me was looking at the challenges and things that I faced throughout the process, understanding what would have probably better enhanced opportunities for me, and being able to make sure we give those to the kids that are coming up now. I believe that if you grow up and it was certain things that you could have had to help further enhance yourself, if you're not giving those things back to the youth, you're not fulfilling your purpose. So it was pretty big for me to be able to add an ACT prep, because I'm just like, dude, nobody gave me ACT prep classes. Financial literacy, nobody talked about financial literacy. In our communities, it's not talked about. It's actually something that makes people feel uncomfortable. But I'm a firm believer that everybody say don't get stuck in your comfort zone. So if something comes to you and makes you uncomfortable, you should embrace it. Embrace it, take it on with the challenge, and learn more about it. So from financial literacy to equipping athletes with things that once the game ends when it's time for it to end, not when you want it to. So if you're well equipped with other things outside of sports, you'll be able to be successful as well too.
So just kind of, you talked earlier about like connecting with kids, right? Making the training environment fun. So I'm pretty sure they come to you with a lot of stuff. So what do you tell athletes that you're training when they're having a hard time?
Yeah, so it's not hard. I guess a lot of people may look at it as hard, but when you've been through these things, when you've been that athlete that has faced adversity, when you've been that athlete that had, daddy issues, or, you and your parents are not seeing eye to eye, or you and, your girlfriend or somebody's not seeing eye to eye, or you and your spouse are not seeing eye to eye, those are things I've been faced with as well. So being able to now look at it in hindsight and say, God, why was I going through those things? And then you look at it and go, when these kids come to you and ask you about relationship stuff, or, these classes are challenging, and you look at it and you're just like, oh, that's why I went through it, because I'm better equipped to be able to help manage them through things. So athletes come to me about a lot of different stuff, man. Come to me about, relationship issues, sports issues, life issues, and I'm just able to help walk with them step by step through the process.
I feel like it's always good to kind of have somebody older to talk to about different things in life, because somebody probably been through it, right? And you don't have to necessarily make the same, I won't say mistakes, but take the same actions that they did, right? So shifting gears a little bit, you're a trainer, right? I'm pretty sure you deal with a lot of coaches, a lot of recruiters. So what role do you play in that?
I wear a lot of hats. I'm a trainer, but at the same time, I'm a trainer and I advocate for our kids. Just to be honest, I feel like I'm very innovative in the approach that I've brought to the Birmingham area on other trainers being able to group and work together. I think it's huge, and being able to properly promote our kids. I think a lot of times people look at it as, people are promoting these kids and they want some kind of limelight off of it, but ultimately it's about the kids. And over the last 8 years, I can show proven that promoting our kids have caused, coaches to come in town on helicopters and coaches to come in and never would have came to the city. It's been great. It's been a great experience building these relationships. A lot of the guys that I have relationships with that are coaches are old college teammates or high school teammates, people that I competed against, and also people that I just took care of when they were at the bottom of their careers. And I'm not even going to say the bottom, but the first step of their careers, when they were GAs or analysts. I always just treated everybody right, and treating those guys right has turned into, these guys being in big-time roles now, and they do a great job in making sure they come through and they support step by step in what we do, and they also tell everybody else in the country about us as well.
So what advice do you give to athletes when they're going through the recruiting process? Because like you said, you've been an athlete yourself.
It's probably going to be difficult for a lot of parents or anybody to hear, but what I'm going to tell an athlete to do is taking the information from the people that's in your circle. And there's people that are truly in your circle who don't look to just benefit from your presence and being there with them. So being able to ask questions, get proper answers, pray about it, and make the decision that you want to make. I think so many times a lot of us make decisions based upon what other people say or what everybody else thinks is popular. But I think the biggest thing is we have to make that decision, because in 3 years when you're at that college and that coach is chewing you out and he's no longer taking you to steak dinners, are you asking yourself, do I still feel like I can play for this program? When I'm having bad days and I'm not the starter, can I still play for this program? And I think that just comes through with a lot of mental toughness. But at the same time, when you truly stand up and you make your decision for yourself, you can live more with it than you do with somebody else saying, hey, go to this school, and then now you're trying to pivot and change directions because of what somebody else told you to do.
Follow your heart.
Yeah.
So you're a mentor to a lot of athletes. Do you have any mentors that you look up to, especially in this field or when you first started out?
Just to be honest, I have good, healthy people around. But just to be honest, I haven't had anybody kind of come to me and, say, hey, I want to kind of look out for you, do this and do that. I'm not going to say I've made myself very approachable to it, but I do have a fatherhood group that's a great collection of individuals, African-American men from all kind of different walks of life, guys that handle nonprofits, guys who are city officials and things of that nature that I can lean on, when need be. So I won't say I can pinpoint one, but I think I have a lot of people around that are willing to help Coach L when Coach L knows how to open up his mouth and ask for help.
So you have a hard time asking for help?
I think I do. I think the biggest thing now is being able to be truthful with yourself and be truthful with other people. My biggest problem with asking for help is not the fact that I don't want help.
Right.
It's the fact of not feeling like you're a burden. When you're a person that wears as many hats as me and you understand how much you take onto your plate and you look at other people that you think may be beneficial to you, you look at them and you say, hey, I want to ask them a question, but I don't want to be a burden to them. So it's not the fact that I want to ask for help. It's just I don't want to feel like I'm a burden to anybody. Yeah.
I feel that because sometimes I get like that too. So in every field you grow, in every profession you grow. How do you feel like you've grown from when you first started to now?
Just to be honest, God knew exactly what he was doing by putting me into a career field for kids to look at me and literally tell me, hey, Coach, I've learned to do this because of you. I stay out of trouble because of you. I do a better job taking care of my kids because of you. Things that way Those are things that I feel like I've grown in because a lot of times you're faced with, we're going to call it what it is, hatred, betrayal, things of that nature in this game. And when you deal with those things, a lot of times you're challenged because I try to tell people sometimes I have one foot in and one foot out. And I think I've had both feet on the positive side. And I'm just remembering where I came from and understanding that God has actually grown me and I've developed to a person that everything doesn't need a response. And telling your side of the story doesn't always matter. So being able to learn those things, I feel like I've been able to grow spiritually and mentally as a owner, as a boss, as a mentor, as a leader. I think that's a big area where I've been able to grow.
So last question I want to ask you is, what do you want Step by Step to be over the next 10 years? Like, what do you want to grow it to ultimately?
The crazy thing about it is God gave me a vision, and it seems like every time he gives me a vision, he expands it. So as long as I'm taking the proper steps and I'm moving according to his will, I won't put a cap on what it is that we want to do. But what I do know, I want people to understand that Step by Step stands for is we're family first, we're God first, we're family. So we're going to try to take care of the athletes, and we're going to try to take care of the parents as well by being able to give everybody a one-stop shop. So not only are the athletes getting better, but parents are setting better examples of being able to try to help improve themselves too, whether it's sitting in on a financial literacy class, whether it's coming in and do credit repair, whatever it is, everybody can find one place to look around the room and say, hey, mom's trying to be better, I'm trying to be better, dad's trying to be better. And ultimately, when you come in and out of our doors, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 locations, you feel the same vibe in every one of our locations to understand that you can come in and become family. And that's whether you're still playing a sport or even after you're done.
Thank you for coming in today. Hey guys, if you like this type of content, like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at No Offense Sports.